Good afternoon and welcome to this video. I'm Martin from Bespoke Baits, and in this video we're going to look at making a wafter. Okay, so hopefully you've watched our number 4 shot test little video, because that's something that you're going to need when we're sorting out the paste. So if you haven't watched that video, have a look on the channel and dig it out and have a little look. And all it is basically just a series of number 4 shot on a hair, and then basically you can pop it in the water and see how buoyant that your pop-ups or wafters are. So very important, because we're going to need that in this video. So I've got my eggy mix, I've got my base mix, and I've also got pop-up. Okay, so I've mixed my egg up, I put my extras in, I put my flavours in and anything else that I want to put in. I've got all that done. Now what I have done is I've actually sucked out 200 milligrams of liquid, because I don't want to be making a batch of paste that's not going to be suitable. Okay, so what I'm going to do is obviously I'm going to mix my first little batch up. If it's too heavy, I'm going to have to add more pop-up. If it's too light, I'm going to have to add more base mix. And obviously when I do that, I'm going to have to add more liquid. And I want to be able to control roughly how much liquid I've got in the bowl. Okay, so I'll show you now exactly how I do that. Okay, so as always, write down what you're doing, and then you can refer to it back in the future, or if you get stuck, you can't remember how many scoops you've put in, things like that. So basically what I'm going to do is, I've got here a 60 milliliter measure. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put an exact flat level of base mix into my bowl, and then I'm going to do exactly the same with my pop-up mix. And I'm just going to give it a good mix. Right, I'm fairly confident that'll go straight into my liquid. And as you can see, we've got a really sloppy mix, so we can definitely do that again, not a problem. So now we're going to do one of base mix, and one of pop-up. Okay, so still a little bit wet, but I don't mind that, because I know I'm probably going to have to add some extra dry ingredients in there. Okay, so the big scoop has to go now, so the 60 ml scoop has to go, and now we're just on like a smaller scoop, so it's up to yourselves, but I'd probably say about 15 ml scoop. So we'll just pop that in there and give that a bit of a mix. So obviously that's added more weight. And it's quite important now that you really work that extra. That's where your hands will become a bit messy. So we're going to work that in. And obviously it's still a bit too soft to work. However, that is probably now ideal to just make a chunk enough to act as a boilie. And let's have a little look. So that's still buoyant. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to add another level and write that down. So it's another 30 ml of base mix that I've added. Okay, still floating. Okay, so I know we're pretty close, but as you can see the paste's now starting to become a little bit too hard, and this is where your extra liquid comes in. So what I'm going to do now, I'm just going to add about 2.5 mil of extra liquid, because I'm still putting extra powder in. So I'm just going to add 10 mil of pop-up. I need to write that down. Okay, so touch more pop-up added. A bit too big. Okay, let's have a look at this one. Ah, perfect. Absolutely perfect. Okay, so now what I'll do is I'll put that on the shot test and we'll just have a look and make sure it's not lifting too much. Okay, so what I've got is I've just got a Boilie sized piece of paste, which I am going to put onto the shot test. And just don't want this to be too buoyant. Got it, so I'm just going to drop that in. And as you can see, it's just kissing the bottom. Obviously we have put a hole in it and it's as wet a state that it's ever going to be, because it hasn't been boiled yet. So that's going to get boiled, dried. To be fair, I'm not happy with that. I'm going to put a little bit more pop-up in it. Right, so I think we're sorted now. And we'll put that on the shot test. So I'm just going to thread my bit of paste on, which is roughly about the size 15 mil Boilie, something like that. And then I'm just going to drop that in there. And as you can see, that is not lifting any shot at all. And get that in focus. So I think that is a well usable mix. Okay, so I've got my little score sheet there. As you can see, how I kept score. So all I've got is a column of liquid. So obviously later on I had to add extra liquid to be able to add more powder. Got a column with my base mix. So basically I mixed it 50-50, and it was too buoyant, so I had to add base mix. It then sank, and really I added too much. I was a bit greedy with the base mix. Lesson learned, maybe 5 mil at a time. So then I had to add extra pop-up, so I kept doing that. Obviously it's very light, so yeah, I had to add more and more. So scores on the doors, 155 grams of liquid I added, and then 145 milligrams, remember that's volume, of base mix, and then I added 180 milligrams of pop-up just to get it to flow off one shot. Now just on that, I did try and measure some weights of hooks, and obviously you need some really delicate scales. One hook I did have which registered straight away was a nice gardener mugger in a size 4, something that I use, and that came out at about 0.4 grams. So really, if you're somebody who uses a nice big heavy size 4 hook, Even lifting one shot off, that'll be a perfect wafter for you, because obviously the weight of the hook will hold it down. It depends how you want to work your wafter. Do you want it just kissing the bottom? Do you want it just, you know, rising up and looking like a pop-up? It's, you know, there's no real right and wrong. Just the fact that adding some pop-up will lighten it and make it, you know, still sink but be light. Imagine, you know, we've read stories in the magazines and of carp sucking from a distance, you know, so they're trying them to see whether they're attached to a rig, and obviously that's where the idea of the wafter came in. So so what I'm going to do now is I'm obviously going to work that out. I'm going to maybe half the volumes, because I've still got 25ml of liquid in my syringe that I saved. Obviously the next time I do this batch, because I've wrote everything down, I'll be able to make it more or less straight away. So it's going to save a lot of trouble. And obviously from those recipes, my next base mix, I do know that this base mix is quite light. There are other base mixes where you end up having to add a lot of pop-up to get them to come off the bottom. But obviously, because it's a food base, we want to keep as much base mix in it as possible and add the minimum amount of pop-up. Obviously your pop-up mix might be different to mine. Obviously this is my own pop-up mix, so I know it's a very, very buoyant mix. So be careful what you buy, and obviously please don't quote me on these volumes. This is all through experimentation. So every time you make a new base mix, even a new batch, you know, you could find that it's slightly different, but I'm pretty sure if you started off with them ratios, you're going to be somewhere in the ballpark, and maybe 10ml of this and 10ml of that will get you somewhere near. So hopefully this video has been useful for you. We'll be doing, like I said in the past, we will be running a little competition where you can win these wafters. Hopefully Boris is going to get this country sorted out. I just want to go back to right when we were seeing the news and we were seeing in Italy and Spain. Imagine if he'd locked it down then and shut the borders and said nobody in. It just doesn't comprehend with me. But I've been Martin. Please like and share, subscribe and all the rest of it, and see what other is, because obviously the next one we're going to be doing is we're going to make a food based pop-up. I'm not going to show you how I'm going to roll it. You've seen all that before in the previous videos. Tight lines. Let's hope you go out there and catch yourself a PB. Well, I've already made the round ones from the badly explained video, so I've made myself some Cocoon Wafters.